And good morning and welcome to another live stream. First things first, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. I really need your support there. Um, and please like and share this video with your friends and colleagues. It's really important that we get this information out. Um, Today we're going to talk to Melissa Wood because she has a business that is supporting support workers. I've always had a fear that good support workers get burnt out quickly, and then we lose them. So Melissa has a business where she helps these support workers um, get through their issues. Um, yeah, there, Melissa.
Thank you, Jeff. Yes, I'm right here.
Yeah. So can you
And
give us
yeah,
a brief introduction to your business and what
abs-
you do?
sure, absolutely. So my business is called Co-Creating More Coaching and Training, and it's all about creating more support, more advocacy for others. So, with this particular business unit, what I am aiming to do is to provide the support and well-being for those that support others. And I have myself been on the other side of the coin. I've been a support worker. I have faced challenges myself in the industry, and I've also seen it with other support workers as well. And for me, I had a change of direction. I have particular interest in serving others and in those who do live with disabilities. And I do believe in my soul, in my heart, that that equality that they have and are incredible people that have a lot to offer this world. And so for me, it's about staying in the industry, but doing it in a very different way so that I can encourage the support workers to remain with the participants that need them so much and to have the longevity and health and happiness in their roles. Yeah.
So, what kind of things that you've witnessed can cause a good support worker to burn out?
So what I have witnessed is a lack of support for those support workers. So if an incident were to happen with a participant, that actually doesn't get adequately spoken about with the support worker. So in my experience, what I've witnessed and what I've experienced myself is that there is an imbalance. There is all of the attention is placed on the participant and their incident that occurred, and this as sport worker has to show up the next day for work, or maybe have a day off and then show up again, and it doesn't get spoken about adequately. It has been my experience, and that compounding, those sorts of incidences compounding on one another, burnout's what caused myself to burn out, and I was into my centre. So it's the incidences in my experiences that can happen with all kinds of different disabilities. Yes.
Yeah, because I've had great support workers and I've had a couple that weren't so good. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so what has concerned me for a long time is that there's no support for the support workers, because it's really hard for them to understand what duty of care and restrictive practice. Um, it gets all confusing, and it's not clear cut.
It isn't. That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and I've
Yeah.
sat with many support workers, and we've sat for hours, and we've discussed like duty of care, where where that line is, and it's not clear cut. So there's that line for a lot of people doesn't exist. Have
That's
you, have
right.
you yeah, have you noticed that where support workers are unsure?
They're unsure. They're unsure of their duty of care when there is something that comes up, but also the duty of care that they have to themselves and to the providers in which that they work for. For me, I was an independent and support worker, and there isn't a clear line. That like this happens, then there is a procedure and a sequence of events that were to happen afterwards that is supportive of everyone involved, the participant, the support worker, and whoever else that may have been present.
Yeah, it's very difficult when it's even as far as the law is concerned, it's that line keeps moving. It's not
It does.
a yes or no, yes or no response or action for the support worker to undertake.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that sort of concerns me. And those people who have watched me for a while know um, there's a person on the IAC that I butted heads with. He's called support workers bum wipers. All they're there to do is wipe bums, and you got to understand that that may be a role that a support worker has to undertake, but it's not just that role.
No,
They
it's not.
they have
Yes.
many roles, and that concerns me. That sort of attitude from a person with a disability is concerning as well.
Yes. Yes. And
Uh,
when that attitude actually flows over to, obviously that's directed at us, at support workers, but it actually flows over to the participants, and that's why we're all here. We're all here to support those that need it, and we and those sorts of comments actually are derogatory and can affect the participants as well, not just the support workers.
exactly. So if you said used to be an independent support worker,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So do you reckon this should? Because I've had this argument with this person as well about having a national registry for all support workers, independent as well as those who work for service organisations. I believe that with independent support workers, they need to have first aid and CPR and a police and working with children's check and the correct insurances and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Um, yeah, it's
And that
very
all of
important.
that is mandatory, and that there is I actually even believe that mental health first aid is something that should, in my opinion, be mandatory in this industry as well.
So, what do you mean by mental health first aid?
So it's actually a specific area of first aid. So you have your everyday CPR and first aid certificate, but mental health first aid is very specialised in the mental health space. And so that's, as a support worker going to do a mental health first aid certificate or course, then that is actually going to be of benefit to not only those that they work with, if they were working with those with intellectual and mental health challenges, but also it's going to be supportive of themselves in the industry as well.
I didn't know there was a mental health course that you could do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just called mental health first aid.
Okay, so is that done through TAFE or?
It's just done through the regular first aid providers, but it is a specialised course, and obviously a specialised trainer that is trained specifically in that program.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that one.
Worth a look.
Yeah. So how do you help a support worker if they come to you and say, look, I have a client and we've formed a good bond, good relationship, and they've been diagnosed with something, or they pass away, or they lose their job as their support worker. Yeah.
So for me, how I support others is very unique to the individual. So I provide critical incident debrief service where if there is an incident the support worker has experienced, then I provide a service that's external confidential support to the provider if they are working for a provider, or it's for the independent support worker. And it is a critical incident debrief service where my role within that is very specific to the individual in front of me and what they need. Sometimes they just need to have someone external to their organisation, external to the family in which that they're working for, if they're an independent, to just let out everything that has just occurred in an incident. So that is a specific service that I provide. And also I provide wellbeing, workplace wellbeing integration programs to providers where I'm serving the entire team, and it being a integrated program within the organisation that is focused on the wellbeing of support workers, and that overflows and contributes therefore as well to the providers, where they get to keep their team members a more long term, and their resources, time and financial resources, aren't consistently going into recruiting new team members into their organisation. So it is very multifaceted, the support that and coaching that I provide, and also there's training elements within that as well, that I go into organisations, into those providers, and provide training and coaching in a group space, and on an individual opportunity as well, if an individual session is required.
Yeah, I think debriefing for a lot of service workers, because my oldest daughter, she's a nurse, and she comes into contact with a lot of tragedies, and that debriefing is very, very important.
Absolutely, it is, and it also stops the debrief from happening in home life as well. If that isn't a service that's provided for, then that can then go and be expressed in home environment for that support worker, and then work starts to go into home, that starts to go into other areas of life, and that can be challenging. And then that's where the extended problem of and challenge of burnout can happen, is when it starts to infect other areas of life. If that debrief and that service isn't prioritized in this industry, in the entire care industry.
Yeah, I have noticed. I come across you through LinkedIn, and I looked at what you did and tried to find some others, and there's very few people do or have a business model like yours that is out there, and for a workforce of up to 180,000 people, it's a huge gap.
Absolutely. And I am actively seeking, searching, asking for collaborators in this space, because I myself can't do this by myself because of the huge workforce, as you say, in the industry. So it is important that this gets rolled out in a really effective way that serves the entire cohort of support workers on the ground in this industry.
So, is your organisation, is that do you get funding through the NDIS or?
No, I don't. It is something that I am. So my main focus is to bring my service into the providers, into the providers that have the team of support workers. That's where I can access the most support workers in one environment. And it is my business model, my where the funding comes from for my service comes directly from the provider. So they take charge in supporting their team and valuing their team in this way that helps everyone, of course. And so the team isn't responsible, the individual support worker, if they do work for a provider, isn't responsible for paying for funding this service. It is the responsibility of the provider, but also the support worker needs to show up and be actively involved in that service and wanting it for themselves as well.
Well, you think someone as smart as Bill Shorten and the senior management of the NDIS would realise that there's a high turnover of staff with support workers within the NDIS, and something like your business model that supports the support workers and retaining them, so we're not losing all that knowledge and experience. I think it's well worth the NDIS looking into assisting your organisation a bit more.
Absolutely. And the new NDIS reform priority 3 is about professional development, is about working to retain staff and keeping staff in the industry. And so what I'm doing definitely does align with priority 3 in the new NDIS reform. So yes, if the NDIS can be supportive in contributing to the funding of this service for the providers and for the independents out there, then that is definitely welcomed.
Yeah, I mean, like I just said, when a support worker gets burned out and they leave the industry, then we lose all that knowledge and all that experience that not just that they have, that they can pass on to others. So retaining support workers should be essential
Absolutely.
for the NDIS.
100%.
Yeah, it's critical. There's a lot of
And
support.
yeah, carry on. Sorry.
I was going to say there's a lot of support workers out there coming into the industry with the wrong attitude. You know, when I say the wrong attitude, they think they're going to come in and save the poor person with a disability and make huge impacts on their life. And when you get down to it, it's support workers. Doing that sort of work is not like that in reality. That's what support workers do. But what I'm trying to say is that for new support workers, their idea of what they do and how they're going to achieve these things is completely different to what it actually is. It's I know because I speak to some service providers and they have especially young people. They have all these grand ideas and when they become the support worker, it actually doesn't work out the way they imagine it would be, and they end up leaving.
That's right.
So yeah, but you were going to say something before.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. And it overflows when support workers leave. It overflows to the participants, to those who we're here for. It impacts them. They oftentimes can regress from their goals when they have constantly new team members joining their support team. When that is constantly happening, like too often, then that can regress a participant significantly, a little bit or significantly. It can also increase or decrease positive behaviour as well. It impacts the entirety of the workflow. It impacts participants, impacts the support worker, it impacts the provider. It actually also impacts the industry when it's where resources are constantly funneled into recruitment, and that can be rectified, that can be changed, there is a solution, and I believe part of that solution is to provide wellbeing support for the teams, for the support workers, both individually and in group, and that is integrated into the workplace and into the industry.
Which needs to happen. I've seen people with disabilities, they have a high turnover of staff and they end up putting up a wall, and it's harder for the next support worker to come in and form a bond and trust, which is really important, because we are basically putting our lives in the hands of the support worker. So there needs to be an element of trust. So having that retention of staff benefits the client, the participant of the NDIS, and their family members as well, because they actually get respite, and they actually form a bond or relationship with the support worker as well.
Absolutely.
Which is really important.
It's vital.
It is. It really is. Um, it gets talked about a lot, but not much is done about it, unfortunately.
Mm.
You have to excuse my voice. It's sort of cracking at the moment, so I'm
No
on
problem at all.
yeah, I'm on heart medication, and it's leaving me short of breath. So I'm actually pushing the air out of my lungs to talk. That's why it's breaking like it is. So, but
No problem at all. Sorry to hear that.
look, it's just one of those things that people go through. But so how can people get in contact with you to get more information?
So they can contact me via my website or on LinkedIn as well. So I have a profile on LinkedIn and my contact details are on my website. And welcome to be in touch. I do initial intake sessions. So my services are varied and they are uniquely customized to the person in front of me. And to the organisation, and depending on how many team members and what specifically that they need with regard to wellbeing support. So I do an initial intake session, which is just an 60 to 90 minutes, and that session is reimbursed off the cost of any service or program that they may choose to uptake. And that is an entry point, into what I offer.
So, what's the name of your website?
It is coaching. You had it up there. There we go.
Oh, there it is. Thanks, Chris.
There it is there. Yes. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
So there's my website.
Just for people who are blind, who may not be.
Absolutely. So it's just coaching, coaching.cocreatingmore.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Coaching.cocreatingmore.org.
We'll put that above the pin. We'll put that in the comments section on YouTube, so people can just click on it later and go straight to your website.
Absolutely.
So, how long have you been running your business for?
So I have been specifically focused on supporting the NDIS teams for the past 6 months. So I have been a coach. I have been a coach for a number of years now, and working with people with regard to authentic alignment, individual authentic alignment, and living their truth. And specifically with regards to the NDIS, the last 6 months, I have been developing programs and services to support providers and teams.
Yeah, well, like I said before, that there's very few organisations or people doing what you're doing. So even though it's fairly new, it's still essential.
Absolutely. Well, got to start somewhere, huh?
Yes. Well, yeah. Hopefully, we can get this recognised with the NDIS. It's funny how you write letters to Bill Shorten, and he just fobs them off to the NDIS, and you just get a pro forma response, which is unfortunate. But you know, with such a large organisation and the reforms coming in, it makes it a little bit harder.
It would, absolutely.
So, so people can contact you like Monday to Friday or 7 days a week.
They sure can. They can contact me via my LinkedIn, send me a message on there. They can contact me anytime via my website, where there is a contact form on my website, and also phone number is on there as well. So my number is 0435 177 263. And anyone wanting support or wanting to ask questions about my service and whether I'm a fit for their organisation, then just give me a call and we can have a chat.
Do you offer your services remotely?
Absolutely. It's so I do online workshops and online service for individuals as well, and also in person. So depending on the particular delivery that an organisation or individual wants, then that can all be built into their program.
Okay, well, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is there anything else you'd want to raise or talk about?
No, I just I feel like we've already spoken about it, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's really like this is a passion of mine. I feel very this feels very heart-led for me to be doing this work, and to be there as someone who is providing support for those that pour their heart and soul into supporting others. And it is absolutely critical that we take care of ourselves and we take care of our teams, not only for ourselves, but for those that we support as well. And that this definitely does need to be prioritised within the organisations, prioritised as an individual. If you are an independent, it's that independent's responsibility to take care of themselves. And it does need to, as well, where applicable, prioritised by the participants as well, that making sure that they're those that are taking care of themselves, that they also asking those questions to the support worker. Oh, how are you? If that is a possibility for that particular participant.
Yeah, just a basic outreach is,
That's right.
really, really important. It's just that first step.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any questions. Is there any questions in the comment section, Chris? None. We get a few people view this through LinkedIn
Okay.
and Facebook, so it's on YouTube.
Fantastic.
It'll be there on my YouTube channel. It'll stay there, but we get up to like a couple of thousand people through LinkedIn, Facebook.
Fantastic.
Come in and watch it through there, through those feeds. But thank you for talking to us today. It's really important what you're doing, and it needs more recognition, more marketing, and hopefully, today's taking a step in that right direction.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate your time and you reaching out.
Thank you. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, everyone. That's it. I'm going to pin the website address to the comment section in YouTube. So if you want to find Melissa's website, just go down to the comment section and hit that link, and it'll take you straight to it. Chris has put it into the chat as well a couple of times. Very, very important what Melissa does. It's only new, but it's essential. We need to support the support workers, and it needs to be helped by the NDIS. So, our support workers are being retained. They're not getting burned out, and we lose, hundreds and thousands of hours of experience and knowledge. So I hope people contact Melissa and give her the support that she needs. That's about all for this week. Now, next week, I'm interviewing Brittany she's a YouTube channel called Empowered Para. Brittany's a paraplegic, and she talks about everything that affects a person with paraplegia. You know, from UTIs to you know, sex and transport, personal care. It's going to be a great interview. So I really encourage everyone to come in next week at the same time for that interview. But thank you for coming today. Again, thanks to you to Melissa. It was good catching up and talking to her.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks, everyone. We'll just leave it there.